Hello, I'm Natasha. Welcome back to my channel. And today I want to talk about a very interesting article which appeared in the British press. It stated that more than half of young people between the ages of 13 and 27 are in favour of turning the UK into a dictatorship. 33% agree the UK would be better off if the army was in charge, and 47% believe the organisation of society must be radically changed through revolution. There seems to be a sort of arrogance by many people who live in Western liberal democracies that democracies are the best form of government. But the results of this survey fly in the face of this. I personally can totally understand why people of this age think in this way. Firstly, there are so many ways in which the UK is failing its people and young people in particular. The UK has high amounts of debt, a stagnating economy, increased levels of crime and drugs on the street, open borders, and just generally too many people crammed into a tiny island. Moreover, young people struggle to get on the housing ladder due to such high house prices. Just to give an example, a two-bedroom flat, which in my parents' generation would cost between 30 and 40,000, is now valued between 200 and 300,000. All of these factors deter people in general from having a positive view on the current form of government. We also have issues regarding the concept of democracy itself in the UK. In a democracy, leaders of the country are supposed to act in the best interests of the country and its people, but they rarely do. A recent example of this is the Labour government's withdrawal of the winter fuel allowance for elderly pensioners, or changing the inheritance tax rules for farmers in Britain. Secondly, key decisions like, for instance, taking the country to war is not subject to any form of consent by the British people. On top of this, we have unelected lords scrutinising and challenging key pieces of public legislation. Then we have other issues that need to be considered. In the UK, we have the illusion of democracy or choice because we have two political parties who actually have very similar policies. Both want mass migration and high taxes, for instance. Secondly, we have to consider that democracy actually leads to inefficiency. We elect one government, and 5 years later, another comes in which reverses the policies of the previous government, wasting all the time and money spent previously. An example of this is the Labour Party reversing the Rwanda plan implemented by the Conservatives, whereby the Conservatives spent well over £200 million on trying to deport illegal migrants to Rwanda. I think 4 asylum seekers went in the end, all voluntarily. Trying to consider every single person's point of view can also lead to slow decisions being made. Moreover, democracy leads to short-term populist decisions rather than decisions being made for the long-term benefit of the country. I'm also starting to wonder whether democracy will work at all in the long term in Europe due to the amount of migration that Europe has sustained over the past decade or so. How can it work with so many different people from very different backgrounds and cultures? How can all these different people be represented? If we consider a country like Libya, a leader like Gaddafi was able to maintain control over a country with over 150 different tribes. And the reason he was able to do this was because he was a dictator. As the West becomes increasingly more tribal with the import of people from very different countries, it may also realise that democracy is not a suitable form of government to provide security and safety for its citizens, which is actually the principal objective of a government. Maybe we need a complete rethink in the way we are governed. Let me know what you think in the comments below.